I love making biscuits and decorating them is one of my favourite things. So I thought I'd show you how to royal ice some little biscuits to make some elegant tea party biscuits like these. So first of all, what you need to do is obviously have your lovely biscuits. These ones are some vanilla butter biscuits. And then you need to mix up some royal icing. And from the royal icing, once you've made it into stiff royal icing, you need to have the stiff royal icing in here so it's of a pipeable consistency. And then you need to have some more watered down icing, either in more piping bags or in these little icing bottles. So the first thing you need to do is to pipe an outline with the royal icing. If you're a beginner, it's really useful to start with biscuits that have got straight edges, so then you can just pipe from one corner to the other. So don't make it difficult for yourself by starting with something that's very complex. And I'm just going to add on a few little candles and some little flames on top. So once you've piped the outline, it's really important to be patient and to let the whole of the piped outline dry and set completely. So this one is one that I've made earlier and it's completely dry now around the edges. If it's not completely dry, when you try to flood it with the slightly runnier icing, the edges will collapse and it won't hold the frame as you want it to. I've added pink colouring to this icing, but obviously you can make this in any colour you choose. I'm just going to use a cocktail stick to push it into the corners. This is also good so you can make sure that it doesn't overflow. I've also got some white icing mixed up, so I'm just going to use that for the bottom layer of the cake. And again, just push it into the corners. And once you've done this and filled it all with the flooded icing, you have to be really patient. You need to leave it for at least 4 hours, ideally overnight, and make sure that they're completely set before you start to try and decorate it. It can be very frustrating if you think that it's dry and then it's still wet underneath and all the decorations start sinking in. And here's a little teacup one as well, which is perfect for our tea party, so I'm just going to decorate that one whilst we're here. So once the icing's completely set and dry, then you can decorate them however you want to. But one of the things that I think is quite nice to do is to make some little handmade flower decorations. And I'm just going to pipe some middles onto those, just so that they finish off all of our decorating. And I like to make a big batch of these, and then I've got them all ready to decorate my biscuits and cupcakes whenever I want to make some. And once these have all dried, you can then use your royal icing to stick them onto your decorations. You might also want to use your royal icing to pipe on a few extra little decorations. I think that decorating biscuits like this just gives them a really special touch. Biscuits are always a popular choice and they're fantastic for afternoon tea, for grown-ups or for children. You can make them in all different kinds of flavour, you can decorate them, or you can sandwich them together with buttercream. The ones that I'm going to make today, we're going to make in some pretty shapes and then we're going to sandwich them with chocolate buttercream. So first of all, we're going to start by making the dough. We need really soft butter for our dough. Let's grate that in. Caster sugar. And then I'm going to use this electric hand mixer, or you could just do this by hand. It just makes it nice and creamy and brings it together very quickly. There we go. And then we're going to add our egg. And just before I put that in, I'm going to lightly beat it with a fork. I just think that combines into the mixture a bit better if you do that first. And then add that to the cream together, butter and sugar. And then beat again with the mixer. So that's all the egg now mixed in. And now we're going to add the syrup. I'm just going to add that into the chocolate just to warm it a little so it's not so sticky. And the melted chocolate. This is cooled a little. Okay, the last scrapes. And I'm going to mix it again. And now it's time to add the dry ingredients. So I'm going to sift in the flour and the cocoa. You don't want to have any lumps. These are quite fine texture, these biscuits, and you don't want to have a lump of flour or cocoa coming through. It's also good with biscuits if you do sift in the flour because it can make them extra light and they're not quite so tough in texture. Using the mixer again, we're going to mix in all of the dry ingredients. And you can see it's coming together as a dough, so I'm just going to bring the last bits together with my hands. You see it's coming together as a lovely dough. Once the dough's come together in a ball, then you need to wrap it tightly in cling film and put it in the fridge to rest for at least an hour. I tend to squash it into a big fat disc, and then it's a bit easier to roll out when it comes out of the fridge. Here's the dough I prepared earlier. It's now ready for rolling out. It's had a couple of hours in the fridge, and so that's a good time for it to rest. Now, because it's a chocolate dough, I'm going to roll it out between a couple of sheets of baking paper, because I don't want to add lots of flour. It'll make a sort of messy pattern on the surface of the dough. This is great to do if you're using pastry, chocolate pastry, or chocolate biscuit dough. You want it to be about 3 or 4 millimetres thick. And now it's time to choose your cutters. So we need to do 2 of each because we're going to sandwich them together with the chocolate buttercream. We've got a little rabbit. There we go. You might want to use a palette knife just to lift them off so that they don't break. If your dough is getting a bit warm, then it's worth, once you've cut out all your biscuits, just popping the whole tray of them back into the fridge just to chill a little, just so that they firm up. You can always decorate these. You could make vanilla biscuit dough, you could make it with lemon or orange zest. If you make it with lemon or orange zest, it doesn't tend to last as long, or you could make traditional gingerbread. And all of these are great doughs for decorating or for sandwiching together with buttercream. Once the cut out biscuit shapes have been in the fridge for about 5 or 10 minutes just to firm up, pop them into a moderate oven at about 180 degrees for about 8 to 10 minutes. You can check them after 8 minutes to see if they're starting to be firm underneath. Take them out of the oven, but it's really important that you leave them on their baking trays to cool. They've got a lot of chocolate and butter in them and they'll still be very soft and sort of bendy and easy to break. Leave them to cool on their trays and then pop them onto a cooling rack using a palette knife. Make sure the biscuits are completely cold before you start to sandwich them together with buttercream or to try to decorate them. Here's some simple buttercream that's just had cocoa added to make it chocolate flavoured. I'm going to use a palette knife to sandwich together 2 of the same shapes. Let's start with the little rabbits. And you might want to use a little tiny palette knife or a little knife, children's knife or something, just to make sure all of it's covered. There we go. And just gently press on the top. And then what I've done is I've melted a tiny bit of chocolate. Here I've popped it in a piping bag, or you could just easily blob it on with a little bit of a spoon or a palette knife. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some little eyes on the rabbit. You could also ice your biscuits with royal icing, or if you don't mind it not going hard and you want to eat them immediately, just mix up a little bit of icing sugar, normal icing sugar, with maybe some orange juice or some water, and then you can make an icing that's fun for children to put on as well. So I've done a little tiny eye on here, and then it might be quite nice to put some little flowers on, a little collar.